So welcome back. We are at the panel discussion. The topic is cybersecurity, a growing concern and remains a challenge. We have the moderator, Mr. Miru Patel. He is the partner CEO, Sapian Group, and he is the COO of Flash Group, and he is from UK, and he is a business visionary with skills and experience in IT. And he is a fearless, disruptive serial entrepreneur, award-winning public speaker with Moderator, and he has worked in 4 continents, spoken at hundreds of venues ranging from TEDx to world political events with 30 years of experience in several sectors, including technology, property investments, development. He has personally invested in, developed portfolio managing projects in Europe, UK, USA, India, and EU emerging markets. And we have another panelist. He is Fabio Scacciavillani. He is from UAE, partner, EMINTAD Golden Eagle Capital Advisors. He is a leading economic expert, asset manager with 30 years international experience in macroeconomic forecasting, financial strategies, and industry analysis. Formerly Chief Strategist and member of the investment committee at the Women Investment Fund Specialties. He has specialized in economic research, forecasting, asset management, industry analysis, financial econometrics, risk management, and private equity. Unfortunately, we have 2 more panelists. They are not able to join, but maybe one of them will be joining after some time. But we are starting the panel. Over to you, Miru. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rajan. Hello, welcome, Fabio. Nice to see you again. You need to put your mic on. Nice. Okay, so at slightly short notice, we are going to see how we run this panel with our 2 participants. So first and foremost, the topic of cybersecurity, I'd like to take it slightly higher in terms of this is for family offices, ultra high net worth individuals. So let's take it first at a higher level I'll talk you through to some of my experience having taken funds from family offices and ultra high net worths, doing property investments, crypto investments, blockchain investments, startups, things like that. What key hot topics are, but what people in this day and age, I think, don't realize are the hidden cybersecurity related issues. No matter who you are, everyone is under attack right now. Okay, so at a high level, what I see is, and it's even growing now with COVID-19. I find that there are a lot of people at home either getting bored or, dare I say it, getting psychologically unstable. So people who are technical and really into this hacking kind of mood, psychologically they are even more unstable just now, and they got so much time on their hands, and there are a lot of hackers growing at a pace. You just got to search the Google on a number of hacks. It's increasing almost all the time. So what is a hack? Why is cybersecurity such a hot topic? In my view, it's been a hot topic ever since the 90s when internet started, when I was at Sun Microsystems, when we started the dot and the .com and the Java movement, and we said, security is going to be key. In fact, what people are talking about, blockchain and cryptography, it actually started at that time. So decentralization started even then. What do I mean? Blockchain and decentralization is good. It's a new technology, but the implementation of decentralization happened years ago when multiple hosts, mirror sites, backup sites, hot standbys, all this was happening together with virtualization of data, virtualization of resources, and all of that. So what's happening with blockchain, making it even more secure and even more difficult for hackers to get in, is the whole concept of not one piece of data is held in one place. Not your private key is held by the institution unless you give it to them. So look out for those infrastructures who take those data. I will even make it more ruthless. Dare I bring Facebook and WhatsApp as an example. They keep a whole range of your data that people don't realize. Even when your mobile phone, for example, is off, your data is being collected on anything from your financials to what websites you've gone to, what you've bought, who you trolled, right down to your names, addresses, what location you are in, which restaurant you're in, which airlines. All this data is available to them. Now, this whole concept of cookies, and I would say almost 99% of people are vulnerable to this, where mobiles are the most insecure devices out there. So with the mobiles and your laptops or your PCs, you are open to these things. If you have a browser, if you have any form of social media, WhatsApp, Google, Facebooks, etc., because everyone has cookies, then all the sites you generally go to do that. I'm just giving one example here. So how do you protect yourself with that? Well, there are many settings in all of these where 99% of people generally don't even know or know how to set them up. Please take time out to do that. For those of you who might have watched The Great Hack, the movie, the lawyer in there, Ravi Nayak, a childhood friend and a family member, as well as Brittany Kaiser, who was the whistleblower in that great hack, the law case against Facebook. They say specifically about what data privacy is all about. So the hack is all about you and your data. So there are several browsers now being developed and already on the market where you can make your data absolutely secure. Now, if you're in the investment world, if you're in a family office and you have infrastructure with money and you're thinking of entering the crypto market or trading on an exchange or things along these lines, my advice would be to choose those exchanges very carefully and make sure you have the opportunity or at least a choice to hold your own currency. I'm a firm believer of, you with your money in your pocket, in your safe, or your encrypted storage device is probably a better way. Unless you are a careless person, then there are other custodial services. So go for those types of infrastructure where you have custodial services, okay? So you are not liable or exposed, I think is the right word, when a Mt. Gox or a Binance or some of these other people, when they get hacked holding your money or your crypto, if you're in the crypto space, okay? If you're then into investment platforms or organizations who hold your money, I would question almost every one of them. What is their backup, cold storage, hot wallet kinds of setup? Because you need to have exposure and you need to be the only private key holder for some of these things, because 95% of most hacks happen from insiders having some form of detail. So make sure at least a piece of the security is with you. And there are numerous ways people are doing that. The most common are the authenticators, the 2PFAs, having your own PFIs and things along these lines. Welcome, Gavin. And then what I would say is there are platforms now, and we as well, we are looking at where we hold other people's data, we hold other people's money, currencies, we have exchanges, we have wallets, we have smart cards. We are looking at a totally decentralized storage. So this is using IPFS, types of protocols and infrastructure implementations where not all the data is in one place. So the advantage blockchain has brought to this is your data is across multiple nodes type of an infrastructure where you need all the pieces to leak before someone gets to your data or money. Let's put it that way. So IPFS is one thing that is really blowing up going forward. The next big thing about data is, we've said it over and over again, as the more of these centralized systems like the AWSs and the Google Clouds, Microsoft Clouds, and all these, it's controlled by one company as such with multiple systems around the world. It's secure, but it's not as secure as it's made out to be. So that's why people are moving away and looking at these kind of blockchain nodes, IPFS types of security. Okay, so that's enough said from me. We've now had Gavin join us. We did an impromptu whilst we were waiting for some of the panelists to turn up. So I decided to give a high level of some of the exposures, Gavin, just to bring you back. And now let's hear it from Fabio, because he's heard a little bit about it, whilst Gavin, you catch some breath. So Fabio, in your viewpoint, where do you see customers' side, from what I understand, where do they see themselves as vulnerable areas, or what are they doing about it from your side, or what are you doing as an organization?
What I can tell you is this: from the organizational point of view, so for what concerns our defense line, we start with a mental attitude. The mental attitude everybody must adopt is, do not think that you are not under attack. You are, in this precise moment, under attack. Probably somebody has already broken into your system. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. What you need to set up as a line of defense is how to treat, first of all, how to detect what damage is being done to your system, how to fight back. So the issue here is not to hope or to strive for, setting an impenetrable wall around you. It's how to deal with the break of that defense wall. So there are a lot of techniques for that. What we adopt is a system of probes. Probes are pieces of software that stand as sentinel in key nodes of your system, of your either cloud or in-house
infrastructure.
Yeah, infrastructure, and they detect anomalies. So these probes will check whether in some part of the system, or whether some user, willingly or not, because his password has been breached, is doing something that sets off an alarm bell. Okay, then you intervene surgically where that activity is being detected. We have to be careful because there are false positive, false negative. So the probe might detect anomalous activity, which is turns out to be okay, or vice versa, does not detect unusual activity, which is malicious. So there is always a trade-off where you set the confidence level to pinpoint the damage or whether the breach has happened. In order to reinforce the defense, the best way is a system of which not even the user is aware of. For example, there are systems that detect the way you type in the password and the username. So by the rhythm of your punching the keyboard,
even the speed,
it will detect whether it's you or somebody else who has your password and username. For example, for banks, this is incredibly effective. Why? Because sometimes it's the employee who gives access willingly to the hacker. So not even him must be aware that this kind of intrusion detection is in place. Okay? Otherwise, if there isn't an issue with employee loyalty, you can set up for each employee or for each user a sort of rhythm for punching in the password. For example, you can do ta 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 ta.
Yep.
So that, and obviously this stays in your head. Even if anyone is able to steal your password, you won't be able to steal the rhythm with which you punch it.
Yep.
It stays in your head. So these are the most effective ways of dealing with cybersecurity as of now. And you need to think of this kind of second, third generation. I don't know, I don't count them anymore. But you have to be smart enough if you want to really protect your infrastructure to go beyond the password and even sometimes the fingerprint, because those can be the file which contains the fingerprint can be breached as well. And so this is the what I would recommend. And we do, as EMINTAD Golden Eagle, we do advise on cybersecurity issues. We have the capability of giving advice, recommending the system, putting the probes into your infrastructure.
Okay, so if I got you.
Are okay.
Yeah, it's a good point. So what Fabio is, if I may summarize, was saying, be vigilant, be aware of your keys, how your key management is happening. Insert various detection software like probes. I mean, there are many network monitoring tools, there are encryption tools, firewalls, private key services, even right down to how far you go with the packet sniffers as well. You can go very, very high, but the main point here is don't think you are safe, which I concur, which is what I was saying as well. And don't think that no one can penetrate your system. You could be a Fort Knox, you could be a Pentagon. They've all been hacked, okay? So who the hell are you not to be hacked, okay?
Yeah, it's like in shipping, you never call a ship or a boat unsinkable.
No, it's as I said, so there's so many of these, so that's the point. And you could go here actually
now most likely a victim of cyber.
I'll give you an example. Here's another device we developed. Okay, so it's a card with the most complicated, up to 40 minutia points of your fingerprint, which is better than what the police and Pentagon and all these people do. But it's got 4 gig of storage, so it keeps the card, the fingerprint, and your data in an encrypted 4 gig of cold storage. So what we've taken is this in conjunction with your mobile to give an additional level of security. So that's even more so. And you can put your retina, you can put all sorts of things in it. But the point said is, if you're a big family house and you've got a lot of finances, don't think that your exchange or whoever is going to protect you, because there are numerous ways of attacks these days. And I think the users or the listeners would have understood that. Gavin, what's your example or special tools or something that you might have come up with or see where you think, cybersecurity going forward might be enhanced to a level using, I don't know whether you're into the deep learning AI-based cybersecurity tools, which are coming down track, which may help, but it will still not eradicate it.
Generally speaking, I'm a huge believer in open source technology. So
yep, same here. Well done.
Literally, since I haven't launched yet, I'm opening up my software and code base to white hat hackers to actually to kind of like allow them to kind of like peer review and like offer bug bounties in order to find have flaws within the code base, and then we'll patch it in time for launch. Generally speaking, we'll be providing an open source software for our clients and to use, but we will hold the license to that open source software, and we'll follow an open source company model where like any use of our protocol they'll incur a license fee. But generally speaking, like I think the best form of defense against cybersecurity is open sourcing your technology and like allowing for people to kind of like deep probe it, and then be able to kind of like have biometric two-factor authentication to ensure that each user is kind of like who they are, and then just open sourcing it really, and having biometric two-factor authentication. That's kind of like what.
I kind of like touched on it right in the beginning before you came, and I even took it to a level to say include IPFS type of technologies as well, so decentralize some of your data even, to bolster on open source. And I was there from the 1990s as a son with Solaris and giving it away to open source, same with Java and all that, so I'm a big believer in it, and we adopt it in our company as well. A lot of our stuff is out there on the GitHubs and what have you. So, but that is good. But let's get to the user side in terms of, again, this is for the ultra high net worths and the family offices. How do you think they can protect themselves, additional to what infrastructure companies like us are doing, holding people's wealth finances together?
So is your question about how,
in addition to what we are doing as a service by open sourcing, IPFS, depends what we do, all the different types of firewalls and packet hackers and walls and all these things that we put in place. What do you think the end user should do in addition to that? What's your view?
I think, generally speaking, instead of using kind of like Microsoft or Apple, maybe use Linux and Ubuntu and use encrypted internet connections, and then encrypt everything from end-to-end encryption. That will prevent any form hacker getting into your device or. So that's pretty much it.
Well done. I said that right in the beginning as well. I said your phone is the biggest leakage for you, because the fact that you have Facebook, WhatsApp, with all these things that is happening there, you're open already. The fact that you have Google and Chrome and all this, you're open already. The fact that you have Windows, Apple, whatever, you're open already.
Exactly.
Yeah, unfortunate. And okay, so you made another additional point. I didn't cover that. The Linux, Ubuntu, open source again. As I said, Solaris started all that, giving the operating system away, what was one of the best, if not still is, with various revisions of it. So now let's take it to another level, okay, in terms of data and data privacy. And I'm conscious about time. A lot of ultra high net worths, a lot of family offices, even us as individuals, we get tons of emails, tons of attached documents, even with our own names or people that we know that we are in our trust, with their email addresses saying, hey, Maru, please open this invoice further to our discussion, or hey, Maru, open this because it's got the minutes of our last meeting, to, hey, Maru, don't miss this investment opportunity, from people we know. That is one. How do you, I mean, we are in the business, so we know what to open, what to look out for. How do you guys see it in terms of what to watch out for, the big signals, what to open, what to not open, to bring the Trojans and all these other cookies and all the rest of it, ways that people hack you. Gavin, you want to go first?
So generally speaking, it's just like before you actually open an email, you could just like look from like the sender, like who it is and all that kind of stuff. If like generally speaking, these are just phishing attempts, really, aren't they? Just to attempt to steal malware.
But I said specifically, it's from people you know. Those are the phishing stuff that's going on for the last 5 years that I know of anyway. Okay, so they even use, so you would get an email from Maru saying, hey, Gavin, further to our call or something, open this, I have a interesting document for you to see.
So there's encrypted.
Generally, these are in zip files, is the first alarm bell.
Yeah.
Generally, these are in zip. And generally, they don't have additional write-ups. That's the other tip.
Yeah.
And generally, it's very few words in the email that is on a one-to-one, what I call relationship thing that you would expect someone you know to write, or they wouldn't just abruptly send you something without any words.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've never came across that, but
you know, geez, I get so many of these.
But generally speaking,
you're
like
lucky.
if you use Brutal Mail or Thunderbird, if you're on laptop, those are kind of like encrypted email providers, and they generally kind of like mitigate against any kind of like dodgy viruses or dodgy scams entering your email system. That's what I've noticed anyway.
Yeah, but they use your email address. So it would be my personal email address or a person in my contact base.
Yeah. Their
email address. So again, I think what you are saying is if you're in a Linux Ubuntu platform, you don't get that shit, right? So
literally. So,
you don't get that. But if you're in the Apple, less in the Apple space, more on the Windows space, that is for sure, and more on the mobile phones.
Yeah, of course.
What's your experience with this, Fabio? Do you see yourself or your clients getting a lot of these complaining to you? Lots of spam mail claiming.
Yeah, a lot of spam mail,
phishing,
sometimes even on Messenger.
Yes, Messenger as well, absolutely.
The criteria I adopt, no matter from whom the email comes, if it is something generic, like, comes from close friends and says, oh, dear Fabio, please look at this file, which is great, or I need an opinion on this thing, I do not open it, because it does not contain a specific reason why I should open the file, what it is all about, and what's in there for me. I consider it malicious. So
it's pretty much what I said. Yeah.
Practice, even for each one of us, to send mail with attachments, and in the text of the email specify what the attachment is about, and if it is related to something that a business or another activity that we are conducting. Obviously, if somebody sends you an email saying, "Oh, look at this! Please read this article. It is great," could be more difficult to detect. But again, good practice suggests that even if you're sending a video, a link to a video, an article of a newspaper or whatever else as an attachment, you specify the reason why you want the guy, the receiver, the recipient to open it, and what it is all about. And
okay, we covered that. So
also,
we've just got a couple of minutes. Carry on, Gavin.
Also, might to add, if you really are focused on email encryption, has anyone heard of PGP encryption? Pretty good privacy. So I think is probably the best way the best line of defense for kind of like any kind of any kind of attack from email providers, really. So yeah.
Okay. Let's. I've just got some notes here. What else I think we should alarm people about is not only the phishing stuff, but also last year there was 26% increase in, depends which report you look at, on ransomware, where people say, I'm going to come over and close your website or your exchange or whatever it is, or your service, unless you give me X amount in crypto. Okay. And a lot of people get these ransomware. I've been on calls with even CZ from Binance, and he gets it as well, or the company gets it. How would you suggest people address some of these, the ransomware types of attacks from people saying, I'm going to close you down, take over your client's data and things like that? Because those come through messengers, those come through emails and things like that, threatening stuff. And by the way, people have done this and people have taken millions. How would you advise people to address this, apart from reporting it to the police? If you have real experience, I mean, you can comment. If not, no problem.
I don't have any personal experience, and we have had instances of people we know who suffer something like that. For example, the utility company of the Bologna township was hacked, and there was an issue of ransomware because they blocked all the bills sent to hundreds of thousands of users. So things were fairly bad, and the noteworthy aspect was that this utility, which has, serves a large city, didn't have any cybersecurity to speak of. So they were extremely unsophisticated, and therefore they were easily taken advantage of. Now, the best way to protect yourself is to have a saved copy of everything in 2 different places, one of which is under your control and one of which is in some cloud repository, maybe even 3. This way you minimize the possibility to have to be shut down from your saved file, to be shut down from your servers. I don't think this is a particularly original suggestion, but I'm quite sure that not many companies, I mean, fewer than you would imagine, have this line of defense. So they just make the backup of their stuff without any concern to cybersecurity issues.
Okay. Gavin, any last thoughts?
I think maybe just like protecting your server would be like probably the best strategy. Like maybe like providing like encrypt your server and like server-side protection. That might be like a good prudent step to kind of like prevent hackers from acquiring your company's data and stuff like that. Those are my thoughts.
But what about at the personal level? The ultra high net worths, the family office guy who manages people's money at the mobile and his laptop, because that's where it all starts, right? Point of entry is what we call it.
Yeah, it's just like
that's the one.
Really. Encrypt everything. That's the bottom line, really. Everything has to be encrypted, whether that be from literally encrypt everything and hard drives. Just encrypt everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that will prevent anything. And if you are going to encrypt something, always use open source software rather than like private source, like private based code, really. So it's open source.
You mean the Microsofts and the Apples of the world? Get off the fence.
Yeah, exactly.
Get off the fence. Stop doing diplomacy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, final thoughts from me then, as we are over time. Touching on to Gavin, as I said, we are even developing a blockchain, Ubuntu-style, Linux-based mobile phone, okay, with nodes and master nodes on it. So it can be a node as well. So you can even have it with your own money in a sandbox encrypted part of your mobile phone, so nobody can enter in it. Okay, imagine all of us, the amount of data we have on our mobile phones from people who even keep passwords, people even keep their bank account details in special notes, places, things like that. So that's what we are developing. And the second point on what Gavin said as well, we are also moving totally to an Ubuntu style company policy as well for people's laptops, and our servers are already Ubuntu, so that it's not an issue. But even right now to the where it enters, the first point of touch, meaning you. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Over to you, Rajan. We are slightly over time, I think, by 1 minute or so. 2 minutes, probably. Rajan?
Yes.
Bang on time, finish 2 minutes over or whatever,
Yes,
1 minute.
It was a very great session with a lot of insights from Fabio and Miru and Gavin. And even I've learned a lot. And thank you for the presentation. Look forward again. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I've got to shoot off, and I'll be on the keynote at 8 o'clock UK time, correct? I'm on the UK 8 o'clock time, correct, Rajan? Is it 8 o'clock UK time, right? Welcome. Okay, see you. Bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Then next.